Hi everyone and welcome back to Satbo Reads Books. Who's Satbo? That's me and I talk books. Welcome back. It's been a minute, well it's been like 2 weeks. I haven't posted. The last 2 weeks have been like crazy. We're still in this pandemic and we're still under lockdown in the UK, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. Work is intense, like working from home as a teacher, it's not the best, but I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to do so. It's been crazy, and working on my business, and yeah, it's been a lot, but I'm back. Hopefully I can bring you regular videos. I've got loads of ideas, I just actually need to sit down and record them. But yeah, I hope everyone is well. Yeah, we out here. We out here. Thank God that we're still alive. I wonder what you guys think about the new hair. I literally did this weekend. It's not a colour that I usually go for, so it's completely different. I feel like I'm completely out of my comfort zone, but I feel like no one... It's a shame, I can't even go out to like flex on them. I can't even stunt on them with my braids. I'm just in my house, no one's gonna see it except for me. So I have to try and post as many selfies as I can, as long as these braids stay good. Ah, Lord, thank you. Okay, so today's video is essentially a January wrap up. So all the books that I read in January. I read about 8 books in January. Goodreads says 9, but I don't count it because one of them I started in 2020 and finished it in January, so I don't count that book. I'm only counting the books that I officially read in like January 2021, and here they are in no particular order. So enjoy the video. The first book I read in January is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, and this book is about, whoa, let me try and even remember her name. Enchanted. Yes. So Enchanted is a young girl, I think she's like 16, 17. She wants to be a singer, and she goes to an audition, and there's this famous R&B singer called Corey Fields. So they meet there, and it kind of shows us their relationship. So Corey Fields likes Enchanted, says that she can sing, says that he can bring her up as his little protege and like bring her into the whole celebrity singing thing. And they have this kind of, it's an abusive relationship because obviously she's like 16, 17 and he's a grown man. So we kind of see like the fallout from that and how Enchanted escapes from the situation, or does she escape? We don't know. Actually, I'm trying not to spoil it, but essentially what happens is Enchanted wakes up with blood on her hands and she doesn't remember what happened. So we kind of go from seeing how they meet to like how she ended up with blood and how that happened. Like, Corey is now dead, she's got blood on her hands, she got blood all over her body. Like, did she kill him? You have to read the book to find out. Now, I gave this 4 stars because I really enjoyed the story. The story is fantastic, the storytelling is great. I loved Enchanted as a character, even though she was quite naive, but then that's what you kind of expect from a 16, 17-year-old girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not wise. If a huge celebrity came up to you and said that they can make your dreams come true at that age, of course you're gonna believe it. So yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of the R. Kelly situation, but I think it can be applied far widely than that. We know that the music industry, is quite predatory. So yeah, that was a great book to read. I highly recommend this. 4 out of 5 stars. Another book that I read is The Fisherman by Chigozie Abioma, and this book was brilliant. I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave this one 4 out of 5 as well. I gave this one a 4 out of 5, and it's essentially about 4 brothers. They in Nigeria, and they go fishing one day, and one day they meet this madman, and he tells them a prophecy that someone is going to kill their older brother. One of them is going to kill their older brother, and we kind of see the fallout of that. So the older brother kind of goes mad. He goes crazy because obviously he's paranoid, thinking that one of his brothers is going to kill him, and then we kind of see like how that affects his mental health and how that affects the whole family as well. They're Igbo, so that's a tribe in Nigeria, and we get some of the language in there as well, which is nice to actually read. It's nice to read some African languages, because you don't really get to see that. So I recommend this book as well. It's like it reminds me of like a Nollywood film, Nollywood movie. Like, they should honestly make this into a Nollywood film. It will be amazing. It will be fantastic. So Nollywood, if anyone from Nollywood is watching, pick this book up because it's fantastic. It's brilliant. Zadie Smith, NW. Now, this book, I did not finish it. I tried. I didn't know what was going on, and I just put it down. I could not get into the story. There's a lot of people who are fans of Zadie Smith, and I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. I think it's time to actually let go and just stop trying, because I think Zadie Smith is probably not a writer for me. I understand she's a brilliant writer, but her stories are not for me. I've tried. Guys, I have tried. I tried with Swing Time, I tried with this one, and I tried with Grand Union. I've tried. I don't know if you've got any recommendations. Maybe I'm willing to try one more time, but I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe I'm too stupid for Zadie Smith. She's very smart. Like, I went to an event she did with Diana Evans, and they're very intelligent ladies. So I don't know, maybe I'm just too stupid to like figure out what's going on. So I couldn't rate this one because I did not finish it. So maybe one day when I'm older, I'll pick it back up and try again, but I don't think I'll be picking up a Zadie Smith book for a long time. Next book, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. These books are not in order, by the way. I'm just picking them up because I read a couple of ARCs as well, or some ebooks. But The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, my god, what did I rate this? I gave this a 4 out of 5 as well. Now, this book, there was hype over this book, and the hype was well deserved. I'm not gonna lie. 2020, everyone was like, get this book, get this book, get this book. It was on all the charts. It's probably still on the charts right now. It's a fantastic book. Like, beautifully written. Britt Bennett is a brilliant writer. Like, I went and bought The Mothers, which is her first book. This is her second one. So I'm hoping to read that soon. But this is a brilliant book. It tells a story of twins, Desiree and Stella. They're black, but they are really light-skinned, and they come from a light-skinned town, well, where everyone's light-skinned, called Mallard. And we see how one of them, so they both choose to leave. One of them decides to live a life as a white woman. So she's so light-skinned that she can pass for, they're so light-skinned they can pass for a white woman, white people. So one of them, Stella, decides to go off and live as a white woman, and Desiree decides to just stay black or coloured as it was back then, because this is set in, it starts off from the 60s and it kind of ends in the 80s. So we see what happens there. Desiree meets a black man. They have a child called Jude, and she's really dark skinned as well. And Stella meets her husband Blake, and they have a daughter called Kennedy, who is a white girl. I mean, well, she's mixed race, but she has blue eyes and blonde hair, so she passes for a white girl as well, but she doesn't know that she's mixed at some point. So we kind of see how the sisters live, how they grew up, how they kind of face discrimination. We also get to see their daughters grow up as well. So we get to see Jude grow up as a dark-skinned woman, and we get to see Kennedy as well. And they live two different lives, and then we kind of see how the daughters meet, and then we kind of see what happens from there. It's a brilliant book. I absolutely loved. I really enjoyed Jude's perspective. Of course, the reason why it was so popular, it has themes of race, colorism, discrimination. Like, there's so much in this book, and it's a beautiful it's just a beautiful story, and you kind of see the impact of, I don't know, it's hard, like being a black woman. It's crazy how much our skin tone affects our lives, which shouldn't be a thing, but it's always there, even if we can't ignore it. Because yeah, if I think about it, if we really take out the issue of skin tone in this book, would the sisters really have split up? Would they have stayed together? I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't really usually like books that are set in like the 60s. Anything that's older than me, I'm just like, But it's nice to have an insight into life back then as well. Racism is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I also read, this is a graphic novel, Kindred, which is by Octavia E. Butler, but this was adapted by Damien Duffy and John Jennings. So yeah, this is kind of, for me, I wanted to read this because I really like graphic novels. I don't have many of them, but I absolutely love them. So it was kind of a break from just reading like loads and loads and loads of lines. I wanted to see some pictures, kind of not have to rely on my imagination. I think I just got a bit lazy, but it was nice to see. This was like my first ever introduction to Octavia E. Butler, because Octavia E. Butler, she's a black woman who writes a lot of sci-fi novels, and I've never read them before. So I decided to pick this up just to see if I wanted to read the book, and now I do, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm a fan, like I want to explore more of her work. So basically what Kindred is, it's a story of a black woman, can't remember her name, yikes, I can't remember her name. Anyway, a story of a black woman, and what happens is randomly she'll just be transported back in time. So she'll be transported to slavery times. Like she's living in the 70s, she's married to a white man, and then just randomly all of a sudden she can be getting on with her day, and then all of a sudden she's transported back into a plantation in slavery times, which is so scary. Like it's almost like a horror movie. Like I can't, if that ever happened to me, like I don't even know what I'll do. I'll just be like, do not, just let me die, God forbid, but I'll just let me die, because I can't hack it. But obviously she's strong, she's a strong woman, I couldn't do it. So what happens is she'll be randomly transported back, and we kind of see like, what is the connection here? Like, why is she just randomly being transported back? Why this specific plantation? which is interesting. So there is a connection there between her and that plantation, and then there's a certain way so it's possible for her to get back to her present time, but we don't know when she would when she would go back. So what she had to do is like prepare like a little kit with her, just in case, that would always be on her, just in case she's just randomly transported back. So she needed kind of like weapons just to protect her, because if she went back and she ended up in a place where and she needed to get around and she got caught by a white person, you know, that's a bit mad, because they will think that she's like a runaway slave and stuff like that. So she has to defend herself. That's the word I was looking for, self-defense. But yeah, I really enjoyed this story, so I'm excited. Hopefully this year I can get around to actually buying some Octavia Butler books and actually reading this. So I want to actually read the full story of Kindred, because obviously this is an adaptation, so there'll be parts that's missing or gaps that don't make sense, that will be filled by the actual book. Did I say what I gave this one? If not, I haven't. What did I give this book? I gave it 5 out of 5. Woo, child. Yeah, I gave it 5 out of 5 because I really enjoyed this book. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. This book I read with my book club, and this one's called The Program by Susan Young, and I think this is a young adult book. Lord. Essentially what happens in this book is there's a pandemic. There is a pandemic, but the disease that's going around is teenage suicide. So trigger warnings for that, because it's quite graphic when it comes to like talking about suicide. So what happens is that we've got Sloane and James. They're both in high school. They're like 16-17 year old, and there's this thing called the program. So the program claims to cure kids or teenagers of this disease of suicide. People think that they can catch it, but that's not the case. So the book is actually quite traumatic in terms of how they get into the program as well, because they will literally, if you show any signs of depression or sadness or you start crying, there'll be people there ready to take you away and take you to the program. So yeah, we kind of see what happens with that, and if Sloane escapes the program. It's an interesting book. Like, the premise is very interesting, but the execution now, it could have been executed a bit better. I don't know if it's me talking with adult eyes, but maybe if I was like 17, 18 reading this book, I would have thought like this is the best book in the world. But as an adult, I think it's a bit, there's some parts you're just like, it's just not realistic, even though it's a book, but you're just like, let me believe the world that you've set this in. Some of it is just not realistic. It's not realistic at all. Some of the speech as well. But overall, like, I actually did enjoy the book. I just wouldn't continue it because it's part of a series, and there's like 6 books in the series, and I don't think I could put myself reading through all 6 of these books. But yeah, what did I give this one? I think I gave it 3 out of 5. I gave this a 3 out of 5. Good premise, could be better. Simple. Some ebooks that I read. So I read 2 arcs this month to try and up my NetGalley feedback percentage. The first arc that I read in January was The Other Black Girl. This book is out in June or July. I think it's June 2021. That's when the book is out. In the UK, that's all I know. Probably in the US it'll probably be the same month anyway. The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Delilah Harris. I hope I said her name right. Lord. Okay, this book, it has been described as The Devil Meets Prada meets Get Out. And I've never seen The Devil Meets Prada, but I have the general gist of it, whereas I've seen Get Out. So there's kind of a thriller element to the book, or supposedly anyway. So there was a lot of hype around this book, saying that it's one of the books that you need to watch out for in 2021. Do I agree? I'm not sure. I know that it will be talked about a lot, because it is quite interesting. Yeah, so one black woman works at a publishing agency, not an agency, publishing house, I don't know how to call it, publishing company, and another black woman joins, and we kind of see some shady goings on there, I guess. But for me, I'm probably just slow. I didn't pick it up until the last 10-20% of the book. Like, the book was interesting in terms of exploring being black in the workplace and the microaggressions and how they expect you to be at work, which was interesting. But the thriller aspect, it didn't really get me. I didn't see it until, or I did not see it until literally the end. The book was quite slow for me until the last 20% again. That's when it starts to pick up, and then at the end I was left a bit confused. I didn't expect it to end that way. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on it. I gave the book about 3 out of 5 stars. Interesting book, but I don't think it's something I would pick up again. So if you are interested, I would say make sure you go and read the reviews, and then pick it up if you're interested. But yeah, it's not something that I'm really gonna shout and scream about from the rooftops. The next arc I read was Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death by Selena Godden. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. Essentially, it's about Death, who's personified as a black woman, and she meets this writer called Wolf, and she wants Wolf to kind of write her stories. I will give trigger warnings for this one, because trigger warnings in terms of death, like there's lots of, obviously we're talking about death, so there's a lot of graphic descriptions of death and suicide in the book, so definitely watch out for that one. I thought it was an interesting, it's a very original idea in terms of personifying death as a black woman, and then her just wanting to talk about what death is and who she is, what she does. So it was very interesting, but I felt very underwhelmed by the book. There wasn't much of a story for me. It wasn't that great. It does get you to think, which is what I enjoyed, because death is something people don't want to talk about. It's very uncomfortable. They don't want to think about it either. No one wants to think about how they're gonna die. It's quite a touchy subject to talk about, but it did make me think about life and how I appreciate life and how I'm gonna live my life from now on. So it's good in terms of making you appreciate life as well. It's not like death is depressing, so there's no point to anything. We have life. We're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of people, unfortunately and sadly, did not make it. So life is short. You just have to do what you need to do. And I feel like this book really helped me reflect on that and really think like, do you know what, life is short, so life's what you make it, as Hannah Montana said, life's what you make it. But yeah, those are the 8 books that I read this month. Next month I'm gonna, well not next month, February, because as I'm recording it, it is February. February I am aiming to read books that my mum bought me, so I know that she's watching this video now. So there's a couple of books that my mum bought me, so I'm gonna read those this month and review them at the end of the month in my February wrap up. I'm gonna also bring you some more reviews as well, because now I'm feeling a bit more motivated to actually record more videos. So yeah, if you've read any of those books, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Some of these might be interesting to you as well. If you've never read any of these, which one do you think you might pick up? And again, you can recommend me books for me to read. I'm always looking for new books. So yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, follow me on Goodreads, because I post a lot of my reviews on there anyway. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!